everyone, it's Sally with the Polka Dot Life. Thank you for taking some time out of your day to spend with me. I appreciate that effort. Today we're going to be talking about the Snowflake Wishes stamp set. It is a photopolymer stamp set, which means you can see through it, and it has 2 full sheets of images and sentiments for us to use on our cards. It's great for holiday cards and for sending cards throughout the entire winter season. Come on over to the stamp table and let's get started. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about taking some inspiration directly from our catalog. So on page 37 of our holiday catalog, I was looking at this particular card. I wanted to do a shaker card for you since we have not done those yet. And you might be kind of a little bit confused about how that happens. So I wanted to show you that technique today. At first, I made this card and I started with this idea, but I didn't necessarily want to do mine exactly that way. So I did a different version of that, which I will show you later. But I wanted to show you this one, or pretty close to this one today. You will see here on page 38, you will see the images that the die cuts will cut, and then the images and the sentiments that the stamp set has with it. You will also note that if you buy both of these together in a bundle, you will save 10%, and that information is found right here at the top of page 38. Let me reset here quickly, and I'm going to grab our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and we will get started on making a shaker card. I have my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine over here right now, and we are going to use the magnetic platform today. And so I want to go ahead, you just start by taking your card front, your top layer of your card front, and you just want to get that centered as best as you can and lined up straight. I'm going to take this out of view for just a moment just to make sure that I have this straight, because if this is wrong, then you have to start again. So here we are. We're going to put our top plate on, and we are going to run this through our machine. And I apologize if that jiggles and wiggles just a little bit. And let me move this out of view for a moment. So here is our piece that has come off the machine. It may stick just a little bit because it has a lot of small details. If it does, you can take your pick tool and just kind of poke through. There are holes on our dies, and you can poke that loose. We are going to remove this, and we'll save this because we could cut snowflakes or something out of that. And let's just take a look. You'll see most of the pieces have actually stuck to this magnetic platform, but we are just going to go along here and check to see if anything needs to be poked out. And we are great, actually. We are going to start with the top layer of our card in this designer series paper. We are going to turn this over with these 2 images at the top. We're going to take our window sheet, which we sell these clear acetate sheets in a 12 by 12 size, and they're very sturdy. You just want to make sure, I mean, we have to put a lot of glue on it because, not a ton, we don't want swimming in it, but it has to stay down. If this comes off, then the whole card is ruined. So we're going to take this, and I did this one a little larger just because we have those holes that are at the bottom. If it was just this shape, I think we would be, we could use considerably less. but we want this to stick down really, really well. So now you can see that this is covered here. We're just going to keep building our card layer by layer. So we have our card front, we have our acetate sheet. So we have our outer layer, and then we have our window, which is going to keep the contents of our shaker card inside. Next, we're going to bring in, they're called foam adhesive strips, and they are just like our dimensionals, only they are slightly higher, and they are in the form of a strip. So we're going to peel, you just peel those off the backing. I will say, I don't love this particular cutout for a shaker card after doing it, but I wanted to do it once with you to show you the difference and to show you why I say that, and just to show you how this die is used. I'm going to take this. We want it close enough, but we want it far enough away that you are not going to see it through this opening. And you're just going to bend it around. Normally we wouldn't use this much, but because of these holes, I don't want to take this across those holes and then have it show on the front of our card. So we're just going to snake this around, and there's probably a better way to do it. This is just how I did mine. And that kind of crinkles a little bit, but just make sure that it's sticking down and adhering very well, which it should. And I have another small piece of this strip that I will just take from here. We want to make sure this joint is covered because this bottom is going to hold our insides in for the most part. It's going to be doing the most work. So we'll take that up to the corner, and then we're going to take it right up here. Whoops, and let me snip this off. And we want to make sure that that is actually joined up pretty closely, because some of these little glitter pieces can be very small. And we're just going to take that, and we're just going to give everything, we don't want to smash it, but we want to give it a nice press to make sure that it is adhering down. We're going to take some of our snowflake sequins, and they come in this cute little round container, which I like to keep these containers. They're nice for keeping a lot of things. I will also say that this shape, because we kind of need to do it the way we do, it takes a lot of these sequins. You could get some of these and mix them with something else to make it go a little further if you wanted to. Or we have some other different options of sequins, but if you use a different shape on the front, which is what I would recommend, then you're going to need a lot less of these. I actually really did put a lot in here. And you know what? No, I was gonna try to move that up around there, but I don't think that I am going to. This is one of those times when I do add a little glue onto my dimensionals. We want to make sure these are all in here, and we're going to avoid shaking or disturbing this after we put our glue on, and we're just going to put it to the side. We are going to resist the great temptation of watching it shake and see all those snowflakes flying through the sky. We are going to do that. And you know, I will say this, I did kind of make a little boo-boo, but it will be fine. But if you have an emboss buddy, you should use that and wipe your window sheet before you put that on. Or if you, since we don't sell these anymore, you could take a piece of fabric softener dryer sheets. I will take this though, probably can't see it here, but I'm going to take this and rub it on this a little bit though, just to make sure that it's not fighting static cling on both sides. So we're going to take this glue and we could just press it down. It has a great stick factor to it. It's very sticky. But like I say, this is just one of those times when you want to give it just a little extra layer of stickiness. Okay, I had to think for a moment which way our card needed to go, and I feel pretty confident about that now. But I wanted to make sure that my crease was on the correct side. And we're going to just lay that down there. And I'm going to scoot this off very super carefully and just hold it up above my head and get this straight. That is also why we wanted to use that little bit of glue. Okay, I'm going to bring this in and we're going to keep it facing down. I just kind of want to take my bone folder and just not press real hard, but just give it a little love right across that layer. We are going to slide this off to the side. I did not want to do the greeting on the inside like that example in the catalog. If you'll notice in the catalog, that greeting is right in the middle of that shaker card window. And I didn't really want to do that. And so that's why I did not do that step. But if you are going to do that, you're going to have to lay down your first layer over your card base and then put that greeting so that it's centered inside of that hole, and then go on with building the front of the card. We're going to have a little scrap of Whisper White, and I am going to use our Coastal Cabana ink. We're changing this up just a little bit because I didn't want to do a thank you card, and that die takes up a lot of room on the front of the card. So you either kind of have to do it there, or you have to do a small greeting, which is what I was doing. And this one says, "From all of us." And it's crooked, but it's okay because we're going to punch it out. We are going to use a punch, and we are just going to punch this out. This is a really nice one for small greetings. If you'd like to use the itty bitty greetings set, and you know, I'm going to put this just a little bit this way because we're going to make that go in on that card. In a moment, we're just going to let all this dry for a little bit, and I will come back and we will finish putting this card together. I failed to put my piercing mat underneath there. We're going to go ahead and do our inside layers. Since we used a piece of colored cardstock, we will be using a Whisper White layer inside. I'm going to put it this way just so I can see it better to stamp with. We're going to be using the sentiment that says Snowflake Wishes for a Merry Christmas. And I'm actually going to bring in our Pretty Peacock ink, which is what they used on that card for their sentiment. And we will ink that up, and we will just put that here at the top. Just let that transfer. So pretty. Let's use some of our cute snowflake stamps, and let's use this one for one. We'll put one in the corner, kind of going off to the side a little bit. In the Coastal Cabana, And then let's do a small one in our pretty peacock as well. Just change things up just a little bit. Those photopolymer stamps really transfer that ink well, and they just kind of stick just a little bit to your paper. But that is really cute. To save a little bit of time, I did some stamping and die cutting of all of these different layers that we're going to put together to adorn the front of our card. I am not being super particular about lining up patterns because we have so many layers. You could try to layer up the designs if they match up, but we are just going to put these together because we're going to put an embellishment on the top. So I will offset these larger ones, just kind of spin them so they are alternating. Then I took one from our Balmy Blue glimmer paper and cut one out in that in like a medium-sized design. And you just want to be a little bit careful about how you put your glue. We don't need a lot, but we do need it to stick. And I will kind of offset that one a little bit too. Then our last one is cut out of the Coastal Cabana. And this one has a little bit more of a solid center. And so I am going to put my glue in those center areas. You know, if your glue kind of hangs up or you think it's getting low for your multi-purpose glue, sometimes if you just give it a little tap, tap, tap on your work surface or your table or something, a little scrap piece of paper, you'll be surprised at how far you can make that glue last and you think it was gone. Just going to give that a look and make sure I didn't have any coming out over the edge. There. It's just so pretty. And, you know, like I say, with that glimmer paper, you kind of just have to really make sure that you have enough glue. It just is a rougher surface. And so you just kind of want to make sure you can kind of press around there to make sure that that is glued down. Then I am going to use one of our rhinestone basic jewels. Those are great for going with just about any project. They match. So they match everything. Diamonds match everything, would say. So I guess our rhinestones are our fake diamonds. And I'm just going to put that right in the center there, just to add a little bit of visual interest. Guess I didn't get that quite in the center. Let's try that again. Okay, great. Now let's bring our card base back in. And we are just going to carefully turn that over and see how our shaker, it just shakes around now. And see that does have a little bit of static cling, but I think as time goes on here, got a lot of time till Christmas, that static cling will wear off. But in case you did not get your card base on, you can arrange it. It can go either way. It will be fine. If you mess up, you can always cut it here and adhere it down to another card base. We won't talk about how I know that. So we're going to open this up. And we'll put some glue around the outsides of our inner layer. I know that a lot of people really love our tape runners, and I think they are great for certain types of projects, but I struggle with getting things straight, and so I really like the Tombow glue so that I have that little bit of wiggle room. All right, fun. So we will start. You could put a dimensional on this, but I think that it sits up high enough that I don't think that in December, with all of the bulk of volume of mail that's going through, I don't think that I want to do this. And we're going to make sure that this doesn't overhang. It can go up a little bit to give us some visual interest, but we want it to fit in our envelope. And then we're going to take our little sentiment and we're going to just put a thin line of glue. And what I decided to do with mine is you can put it wherever you want. You could put it down here if you'd like, if you don't want it to impede or cover up any of your card. But what I did is I just took mine off a little bit, because if somebody is looking at your card, they're going to be viewing it this way, and so most all of those snowflakes are going to be at the bottom. Now, these are up a little bit. If that bothers you and you're able to put a little glue underneath it, you could do that. I would recommend doing that from the beginning, though. I just want to point that out, that these will stick up, but I think that that gives it some, I don't want to say movement because it doesn't really move, but I do like that it sticks up a little bit. But see, these are just super sweet. And they just give us a little glimmer and a little dance of winter. And then for the envelope, I just used some balmy blue like we have here, just to kind of pull that in. But you could certainly use that Coastal Cabana. But see, it's just kind of like you have it up on a big dimensional is what that's like in the middle. Now, my other card that I did first, I used some of the glimmer paper on the inside. I just thought that it might be fun to give it some extra sparkle, and hopefully that comes through on the camera. And then I didn't love the layer of the glimmer paper coming the whole way out. So I did some gray granite here. And then on the inside, I just used the gray granite and the balmy blue, and I just did some two-step stamping. But I thought that was a fun card as well. This one, I wanted to do a little bit, maybe, I don't know if you would call it a country type of style card or just something a little bit different. This particular die, this is the largest die in the set. It doesn't cut anything like a shape out. It cuts all these little cuts into your paper. So that's why I did it this way. This has the Rococo Rose underneath. And then I just took a long-handled makeup brush and did some sponging of the Rococo Rose ink here on the top. I just kind of wanted that to radiate out a little bit and not have that stark white difference there with that snowflake. And then I just did a little snowflake inside. And then this one, I just used some of our Pacific Point cardstock for a card base. And I used our designer series paper that is part of that suite, some purple posy, and just stamped some various snowflakes and cut them out and said, "Thank you so much," and did a purple one on the inside. That's a Highland Heather, actually, since we don't have the purple posy ink. And I just did the snowflakes in the different inks to go along with all of our cards today. So nothing super fantastic, difficult, but just sort of fun. And I don't even know that all 4 of these will show up well on the camera at the same time, but here they are all together. My point I wanted to make today was that if you get hung up on trying to come up with a design and you're struggling, look through our catalogs. You don't have to do the exact same design that goes with the stamp set in the catalog. You might look and see a flower stamp and a card project that you like, that you would like to try with the snowflakes. Just use it as a little jumping off point and take it and see where it will lead you. And it might not be your first version that you love. It might be your second or third version of a card that you love the most. But it's just a fun idea book for us. So hold on to your catalogs and don't just shop from them. Take design influences from them. As always, remember to be kind, send a card, and do something creative. Bye-bye.